Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will learn next set of lookup and reference functions, and those are match and index functions. Match function alone is not that useful, and it is always used in combination with index function. Together, they work as a best alternative for VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. So let's get started. First we will learn match function, and it has three arguments. Let's try to break it down. The function name match is meant to search for a specified value and return its relative position, either row number or column number. The first argument is obviously a lookup value, a value we want to find, and it can be numeric, text or logical value, or even a cell reference. Lookup array is the range of cells where input value needs to be searched, and finally the match type will perform the type of search. It takes three different values as input: 1 for approximate match with closest smaller value, 0 for exact match, and -1 for approximate match with closest larger value. Next is the index function, and even this has three arguments. Let's try to break it down. The function name index refers to the value at certain cell position or cell reference. The first argument is array, and it is the range of cells. Row num and column num are row number and column numbers from which the value needs to be returned. There is another version of index function with few more additional arguments, rarely used but very useful. So here is the second version of this function with first argument as reference, and the input to this can be more than one array of ranges. So obviously there must be some argument which must specify from which array the value needs to be returned, and that is taken care by last argument, area num. Also, when we provide multiple arrays as input to the reference argument, we must separate these ranges by commas and enclose the reference argument in its own set of parentheses. Row num and column num are row number and column numbers from which the value needs to be returned. The only difference between both these versions is version 1 takes only one array as input, while version 2 takes multiple arrays as input. So finally we are done with all the basics. Let's jump back to Excel and see some examples. So we are back into Excel, and this is the sample data or setup we will be using as an example. Here we have three different tables for January, February and March month with same set of employee names, their department, but different salary records. On the right side, we have three drop-downs. First with the list of months, second with employee names, and third with the list of headers, which is same for all three tables. Also, I have listed all 3 months here in the same sequence as that of 3 tables, and we will see how to use them shortly. Lastly, we will try to answer these 4 questions. 2 for match function and next 2 for 2 versions of index function. So the first question is to find the row position of selected employee name in January month. First, let me select the employee name from the drop down, say Rahul Verma, and then add the match function. Lookup value will be Rahul Verma employee name. Lookup array will be the range of all employee names in January month table, and match type will be exact match. Close the brackets and hit enter to get the output as 2, and it just means Rahul Verma name is at the second position among the available list of employee names. Let's take this similar approach and then try to answer the second question, that is to find the column position of the selected header name. Let me select the header name from the drop-down list, say salary, and then add the match function. Lookup value will be the salary header name. Lookup array will be range of all header names in January month table, and match type will be exact match. Close the bracket and hit enter to get the output as 3, and it just means salary header name is at the third position among the available list of headers. The third question is to find the salary of selected employee name for the January month. This is the example of first version of index function, and that's the reason we will use only one table as input. Let me change the employee name to Meera Joshi and then try to find her salary. So the header will be salary in this dropdown. Let's add index function. On top are the arguments for the first version of this function, and the input to array will be the data under January month without the headers. We are excluding the headers just to get the exact position or reference of the employee name. If not, the position will increase by 1 because of headers. We can hard code row number and column number as 3 since Meera Joshi is at the third row position and salary is at the third column position and still get the correct output. But instead of hard coding the row number and column numbers, let's use match function. Now for row numbers, let's use the match function. Lookup value will be employee name Meera Joshi. Lookup array will be range of all employee names in January month table. Match type will be exact match. And then let's close the brackets for this match function. Now let us use match function for column number. Lookup value will be header name salary. Lookup array will be range of all header names in January month table. And match type will be exact match. Close the brackets for match function. One more bracket to close the index function and hit enter to get the same output. Overall, we get the same output, but this function is totally dynamic. Like if we change the employee name or header names, the output will also change accordingly. Finally, the last question is to find the salary of selected employee name from this selected month. This is the example of second version of index function, and that's the reason we will use all three tables as input. Let me change the employee name to Rohan Mehra, header name to the salary, and month as February. Let's add the index function. At the bottom are the arguments for the second version of this function, and the input to reference will be the data under January month, February month, and March month, separated by comma and again without the headers. We must enclose these three references in its own set of parentheses, and now as an input to row number and column number, let's use the match function. For the first match function as an input to row number, lookup value will be employee name Rohan Mehra. Lookup array can be any range of employee names among these three tables. Let's select the range from the February month, and match type will be exact match. For the second match function as an input to column number, lookup value will be header name salary. Again, lookup array can be any range of headers among these three tables. Let's select the header range from January month this time, and match type will be exact match. Now the input to area num will be either 1, 2 or 3, and they point at table 1, 2 or 3 respectively. So instead of hard coding the table number, let's use another match function. Lookup value will be selected month February. Lookup array will be this list of month names, and I have purposefully listed these names in the same sequence as that of tables so that the month name position will point at its table number, and the match type will be exact match. Finally, close all the brackets and hit enter to get the output as 43,954. Now we can change the month and employee name using the dropdowns, and salary details will be dynamically updated. Hope these examples were interesting enough and have given the better understanding of index and match functions, and that's what I wanted to cover in this video.